Hi, my name is Catherine Sullivan, and today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about myself, just how my personality has developed over the years. This video will be about 45 minutes long, and it is a project for my Theories of Personality class. The professor is Dr. Pruitt. So to tell you just a little bit about my family, so I was actually born and raised in Gallatin, Tennessee, and that's where my family currently lives. I'm an only child in a family of three. So my mom and dad, they actually met when they were about 16, and they've been together ever since. My mom worked at home as a medical transcriptionist for about 20 years, and she just recently got a new job. And then my dad is an elementary school principal, and he has about 1 year left until he's going to retire. Um, so now that I'm in college, my family is really tight knit. I guess we've always been pretty tight knit, but especially now that I'm not in the house all the time, I think distance definitely makes the heart grow fonder. And so we really just appreciate each other a lot more now. So, a little bit about my childhood. As a child, I always really enjoyed school. I loved being with friends and family, and then I enjoyed hobbies like dance and gymnastics. Um, so, you could say that I was always more of a girly girl um, than a tomboy, and you could definitely identify me as the one who had a room full of dolls, who was playing school with them and pretending to teach them, and all of that fun stuff. As I grew up and entered more of the teenage years, I would say that two things became really apparent. One, I was much more mature than my friends and just other peers my age. And two, I was clearly an introvert. So that was really apparent in that on a Friday night, I was totally comfortable just staying at home with my parents and relaxing with them when most of the other people my age were maybe like out at the roller skating rink together or at the movie theater, just whatever. I just never was really interested in that kind of thing. So that was really throughout middle school. And then when I entered high school, my personality really, I think, took another shift at this point. And so at this point, I became really involved with student council at my school. Um, that was heavily prompted by my parents, which I'm very thankful for. So student council really helped me just become more confident as an individual. It kind of gave me a place to fit in school. Um, and so I really became passionate about serving my school and just really playing a part in the different things that were going on. Um, During middle school and high school, I was also very involved in my church youth group, and I think that was so supportive and played a really key role just in giving me some accountability and some support um, in that stage of life. So I knew from a really young age, probably as early as preschool, that I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. I really attribute this to watching my dad as a principal. I really admired just the difference that he made in so many people's lives. And, you know, we still see people when we go out to restaurants or church or anywhere, and they recognize him and they just kind of catch him up on their lives. And I just think it's really, really neat to see what a profound impact you can make as an educator. So that was always my plan. Actually, my plan up until last fall, so the fall of 2015. And so what happened is I was taking a class with Dr. Greamy Bradley, and it was the Marriage and Family and Society class. This is a class mainly for education majors, but it covered a lot of psychology and sociology. And so I became really interested in the psychology field. And I actually met with her last semester, and, or actually that semester, so back last fall, and decided to stay as an elementary education major. I was just going to leave it be. Well, God just really kind of kept reminding me of that and just kind of kept that at the forefront of my mind. And so here I am. I ended up changing to become a psychology major with a minor in counseling. And so from there, I plan on getting my master's in marriage and family therapy. So what about now? At this stage in my life, as a junior in college, I feel like I am just rapidly changing when it comes to my personality. Just looking back on the difference from my freshman year to this year, I am so different. Um, so, some things that I enjoy. Top on my list would be just my love for the Lord. My faith has played such a huge role in getting me to where I am today, and so that's definitely probably the most important thing in my life. Um, Another thing that I enjoy would be school. Believe it or not, I really do love school. I love being a student. I love the challenges that come with classes. I love the routine that classes give me. Um, and so I just really love learning new things and just kind of having an expanded mind and just seeing lots of different viewpoints on different topics. Another thing, I'm actually an RA on campus. I work in Georgia Hall with about 30 freshman ladies. So that's actually something that I really enjoy. Granted, some weeks I think, what have I gotten myself into? But in general, I really do love it. It's taught me so much. It's forced me to grow in so many ways. I've learned how I deal with conflict. Um, I've learned the impact of pouring into my residents and just seeing how that blesses me in return. And so I just really think that's been such a blessing and formative in these years. And then I am an introvert, and so I really do enjoy a healthy amount of alone time and just kind of having some time to recharge as an individual. So, along with some of the things that I really enjoy, some of my hobbies would be so, first of all, I'm kind of an old soul, kind of an old lady. All of my friends tease me for that. But with that being said, I love to knit. I love watching HGTV. I love hot tea or coffee. Also, I really enjoy taking pictures. So I'm really learning about photography and getting into that. I think it's really interesting. And then I also enjoy, reading books, kind of anything old lady, totally into it. On the other hand, some things that I don't enjoy, I'm not very athletic, like at all, so I really try and avoid sports. I am not really a healthy eater, not into healthy foods. I think they're disgusting. And then probably one of my biggest pet peeves would be laziness. So just when people are not willing to like at least try or give it their best, that's something that really bothers me. Alright, so for the next part of the video, I'm going to be interviewing my lovely parents. So we'll have my dad, Danny, and my mom, Kim. And I think this will just provide really profound insight on why I am who I am, and also just their genuine opinions of how my personality has transformed over the years. So I'm just going to be asking them some questions so that you can get their insight on my personality. So the first question is, what was Catherine like as a child?
I'll start. Catherine started out as a very small bundle of joy. She arrived on December 31st, 95 at 4 pounds and 6 ounces. She thrived, never had a moment of trouble despite being so small. Just a sweet little girl. Growing up, she loved to play with her babies and teach school early on. Quite the teacher, lining them up and just pretending like they were her class. Just very, very mature for her years.
Catherine was very, very mature, like Kim said, for her age. She was only child, so she did learn to play by herself a lot. Just memories of her, like Kim said, having the dolls out lined up and teaching school or mimicking Kim, having an office, as Kim worked at home. And having her own space there. I knew early on that she was a leader, that she was mature beyond her years, and but she seemed. I think Catherine seemed to have a mindset of having there was I guess a period where she would find something that made her content, and then she would just focus on that solely. And sometimes I felt like she missed out on having multiple friends or multiple experiences. And but I think overall she was very mature for her age, and that's it.
All right, so now tell me 3 words that you would best use to describe me.
Well, I think for me, I would say probably organized would be number one. I would say driven. Okay, I think you know what you want to do with your undergraduate, the master, to your PhD. You kind of have a plan. So I think organization. You have a very driven personality, and I would say mature. So you know what you want, and I think you're a good leader, and you're able to. Um, I think you're just a good influence for others through your maturity.
And I think also just another adjective is Catherine's a very loving and compassionate person, and she cares deeply for people, and she always wants to invest a lot in her relationships, and so I don't think you find that quality in a lot of people.
Does that make sense?
I think Catherine sometimes is the peacemaker. Um, you know, I think sometimes for me, I've been, and I tell people in Sunday school sometimes, Catherine has always challenged me spiritually. Um, I see the little note cards and scriptures and things. Again, that goes back to the maturity thing, I think. So I think as an only child, I think you found your place, kind of where you want to be and fit in, to make our family whole.
Um, she's still our little girl, and she always will be.
Always.
She's almost 21, but just she's perfect.
No, I wouldn't say perfect.
Far from it. Okay, next question. What would you say is one of my biggest strengths?
I would say, to me, it's the maturity. Um, Wise beyond her year, therefore she tends to think through things analytically before you do something that's going to get you in trouble or take you down the wrong path. So I would say that's probably, I think that's your biggest strength, because right now at 20, most 20-year-olds brains do not work properly. So I think you're doing pretty good, kiddo.
Mom.
I agree with him on that. I think just very mature and very focused and driven in what you want to do in your life, and you have a goal and you have a plan, and you just even though things are hard sometimes, you buckle down and you go after that, and you look to achieve what you set your mind to do.
I think as a parent, and you'll understand this one day, when your child is on their own, or they're at college, or they're out with friends, and you go to bed at night and they're not home, and you can go to bed with the assurity that they're not doing anything that's going to get them in trouble. They're doing what they're supposed to do. It's pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, and then what would you say is my biggest weakness? No filter.
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
All right, your biggest weakness. Let me see. I think again, sometimes you limit yourself. I think if you look at most people that are leaders or have personalities in leadership roles, they will say anything to anybody without worrying about offending them if it's the truth
Mm-hmm.
and if it's what those people need to hear. And most times people are appreciative of that
Yeah.
because most people won't tell people what they need to hear.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you shy away from that a little bit. You don't want to be in that situation or put yourself in that situation. So I see that as a little bit of a weakness. And then also I think limiting yourself, I think, in relationships, settling for less than what you feel like you're worth, whether that's in a physical relationship with a boy or in a friendship role. Sometimes you can give too much and not receive,
Yeah.
and your tank get so low that you're burnt out. And so I think I think as you mature and get older, and hopefully you'll put yourself in situations where you get just as much as you're giving.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I think you settle for less than what you actually deserve.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think on that note, sometimes there's a little bit of reluctance to maybe put everything into a relationship or a friendship per se, even with just a female, because you're awkward about where that's going to go, and you don't want to take the chance of even getting hurt, and really believing in someone and pouring yourself into them, and then them just being very superficial and shallow.
Yeah, absolutely. How do I impact other people?
I think Catherine has a very positive impact on the people she encounters, and I think she leads a very high example in the way she lives and acts, and I think she has a very positive impact on the people that she meets.
I think Catherine, here at Trevecca, I think you're doing exactly what you need to be doing as far as being an RA with freshmen. You have that mother mentality where you could talk to these girls and work through those kind of situations. I always thought you'd be a great teacher, and so I hated to see you change your major, but at the same time, you'll be a great therapist or psychologist. And then if you get your PhD, you'll be a great teacher on the college level. So, that I think you strive to try to find your strengths and then build on them. So you're going to have a big impact on other people. You are a leader, and you're still developing those skills, but you got a bright future ahead of you, kiddo.
Awesome. How have you seen my personality evolve throughout my life? How have I changed over the years?
I think Catherine was just very uniquely gifted with an ability to teach and lead, even at a very young age, even and play with her dolls and teaching school or whatever she was doing. She just she exemplified an ability to do that in a really great way at a young age. I can even remember her pretending like she was a Bible teacher or a preacher to her dolls, and just crazy the memories that flood my mind. But she's just always had a very strong leadership ability, and even going back to middle school, she ran for student council and made that as representative, and that just really was a benchmark in her being a leader through her high school years and getting into student government, and just was great ways for her to develop more leadership skills and have a great circle of friends. And she's just always exemplified great strengths there.
That was a question.
How has my personality evolved or changed over the course of my life?
I think from a child, watching you grow, and now, you're through your teenage years and now into your early 20s, I have seen at different stages of your life things that remind me of myself, things that remind me of your mother. We met when she was 16, I guess. You were 16. And so I've known your mom a long time, but just that's scary sometimes because I see certain things that we went through that you're dealing with, and certain things that we do, and you've picked up those habits, and so that's scary. It makes you really want to watch what you're doing because it really puts it to light that others are watching you. And but it can, I think your personality continues to evolve. I think over the years I've seen you learn from your mistakes, learn from things that maybe we've talked about, some of the conversations we've had tonight, and you've been in situations with friends or relationships, and you've seen how those things work, and I think you'll learn and grow from those.
Absolutely. Good. Where do you imagine that I might be in the next 10 years? What a question.
I would say, like we said earlier, you kind of know what you want to do, and I've seen you change your major,
Yeah.
and that's good. You should always have an open mind, but you have those life goals. So, yeah, I could certainly see you in 10 years with your master's, counseling, with maybe your doctorate or working on your PhD.
Dr. Catherine Sullivan.
And maybe doing some teaching on the college level. Married, maybe a child. I don't know.
Yeah.
People are getting married, pushing that off further and further.
Yeah.
And so 10 years, let's say you'll be 30. Better be having me some grandbabies by then.
So she probably will not be Mrs. Sullivan anymore. Dr. Catherine something. But I think she will meet her educational goals and will be doing what she aspires to do. Even if that were to change a little bit, I don't anticipate that. She seems to be very passionate about psychology and all that she's learning. So I feel like she will be exactly as Jenny said.
Awesome. What has been your biggest challenge in parenting me?
I would say the middle school years were tough. There was some difficult moments there, probably even the latter elementary school, but definitely middle school.
What was challenging about that?
Well, we're a lot alike now, and even then, Catherine did not like me telling her things as they were. And I think a lot of times she knew I was right, and she didn't like hearing it from her mama. Now, if her daddy told her, it was a different story because she's daddy's girl.
But I think at the same time, if we had a boy, I think you would have been closer to your mom because that's usually the way it is. And I always told y'all, when you get older, y'all gonna have a better relationship, and you do now.
And we do.
Yes.
So, biggest challenge. I guess I would throw out the analogy of the eagle flying, and remember your 15th birthday, going driving.
That was Thanksgiving of when I was 14, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we were driving that day, and I made you cry, and I was pushing you, and I think the biggest challenge in parenting you was getting you to understand your full potential, and that you could do anything you wanted to do. So I had to push you sometimes, and I was hard on you sometimes, but I look at you now, and I watch you soar like an eagle, and you are doing just fine on your own. So, paid off.
Yeah, thank you for that. And last but not least, how would you say I deal with emotion?
Go ahead.
How do you deal with emotions? I think a lot of times, and again, you're like us. I think you hold them in, and then when they do come out, you get the tears, and
It's like a volcano erupts.
yeah. So that's not a good thing. You need to. The more you can talk through something, and you have those skills where you write things down. But when you can do that, I think it allows you to release some of the pressure, some of the feelings. One thing I've learned is, if you're anxious about something, 90% of the time it doesn't even happen anyway. So you worry about it for nothing. It always seems to work itself out. Even with situations that you've had this year with being an RA, or thinking about the future, what it's going to be like next year as an RA, or your major, and how that's going to evolve. So, just working. If you can work through things instead of holding those things in, and then when you do counsel other people, come up with ideas and situations that they can put themselves in to work through problems and not hold those feelings in.
Absolutely.
I agree with that mostly. I think that Catherine knows, just in her own life, having been through various things, the importance of dealing with your emotions in a healthy aspect. And while each and every one of us may know the right way to do that, it's not always easy to put that into practice. And whether it's taking a long walk or a jog, getting, the appropriate exercise just to release stressful, feelings and stressors that you have in your own life. I know that Catherine knows how to deal with emotions, and sometimes it's just having a safe person to talk to about a situation that's bothering her. I think she does a good job. I think she's human, and sometimes it takes a little longer to process a particular thing she's going through. But certainly she prays about things, and I think she seeks healthy ways and very mature ways to deal with her emotions. But it's a difficult thing in life sometimes. And
it's
just
hard.
Depending on what exactly that is. Everybody deals with circumstances in a different way, but I think she's definitely always been wise beyond her years, and I think she's very strong at handling things at her age.
So those are all of the questions that I have for you. Do you have any other comments that are just burning your heart that you need to get out? Anything?
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're a good girl. You should get an A+ on this. Maybe a 90. Anything?
She does make us very proud, and we're very blessed. Very thankful.
I'm very blessed and thankful. All right, so that is all from us as a family. So for the next part of the video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the personality theory that I would say I most identify myself with, as well as describe some actual instruments that I've been a part of and kind of correlate that back to everything that we've discussed. So if I had to choose one theory or theorist that we've talked about throughout the class, I think that I would most identify with Jung. I really like the work that he did on the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs test. I just think that it's really fascinating stuff. And from taking that instrument during freshman year LEAP, I just feel like my results are pretty accurate to who I am. I do think that if I took it now, almost 2 years later, that my results would be substantially different. I think that I've changed so much over the past 2 years, but I just think that his work is so profound in really identifying with yourself and kind of labeling, kind of some general labels, but to really be able to put titles on different aspects of your personality so that you do have a good understanding maybe of why you are the way that you are, or I'm this much has been introvert, and so it makes sense when I want to be alone and when I recharge from being alone, and that's not me being weird, that's just what my personality really needs. So Jung would definitely be the theory, his theory, that I would most identify with. And so to go over some of my Myers-Briggs type indicator results, I got an ISTJ. I was a 25 out of 30 I, a 19 out of 30 sensor, a 5 thinker, and a 30 judger. I think that all of that really does describe me pretty accurately. I would say that I would be more of a feeler than a thinker now. I am very logical though, so I think that it makes sense that I'm kind of on the line of that. As far as being a judger, not a surprise. I'm such a planner. Everything has to be written down. I have to have a to-do list and list for my list, and everything that I do is so thought through, and I think that that is both a blessing and a curse sometimes. I'm definitely an introvert. I think that some of that comes from being an only child, in my opinion, because I've always had so much alone time, and so I think that that's just something that's really innate within me. And then as far as being a sensor, I do like things that are very concrete, but I think that that is one that would be more on the line if I retook it. I think that rather than being a 19 sensor, I would probably be more between like 1 and 10 on that. So those are my MBTI results. And then to talk a little bit about the MPD that we took in class, I think that for the most part I was pretty average on the scores. The one thing on my results that was alarming, if you will, would have been my trust. It's really, really low. That doesn't really surprise me. I've been burned by a lot of people in my life. just in a lot of different friendships and relationships, and even within my own family, there's been just a lot of downs, and a lot of ups, but there have been some pretty significant downs. And so, unfortunately, I have learned to put up a lot of walls and barriers, and that's something that I hate, but it is that way. And so that's something that I have to consciously work on overcoming and allowing myself to be open to people and opportunities, and to not always automatically assume that people are going to let me down or be negative. So, yeah, trust was really low, but I think that everything else was kind of normal. Although, looking at my T-score, trust is something that it looks like I'm not consciously trying to improve upon. And that was something that we went over in class. And so I think that is a little alarming too, because I do feel like I try to be aware of my lack of trust, but according to the test, it disagrees with me on that. And then just for a little something extra, I also have my Gallup Strengths Finder results, and I thought that this was an interesting test, to pull out my 5 top strengths as an individual. And so just to quickly go through those, my top 5 strengths were responsibility, discipline, individualization, which I totally see myself living out. I really like to, I'm a people watcher, and I'm infatuated by people and what makes them unique, and their quirks, and so I definitely see that. I'm also a relator. I really like to build deep relationships and to get to know people, despite my lack of trust. I definitely like one-on-one relationships, and I like to really invest in those. And then I'm a learner. That was my 5th strength, and I totally agree with that as well. I am a complete nerd. I love school. I love to learn. I'm always interested in reading the textbook, or I love going to classes and things like that. I just thrive in the academic setting, and things don't always come naturally to me. I'm definitely someone that has to study and put the effort in, but I'm completely willing to do that, and I really enjoy just watching myself grow in knowledge. So those are just 3 different instruments that I've taken through the college years, and so I hope that that helps kind of give a more concrete insight on why I am the way I am. So for the last part of this lovely video, I'm just going to reflect on sort of where I see myself going from this phase in my life. And I know that that was kind of touched on in the interview that I did with my parents, but just to give you a little bit more of my perspective on that. So obviously right now I'm working on my undergrad in psychology, and so upon graduation I'm really hoping to enter the marriage and family program here at Trevecca. I just think that that's such a interesting program, because I feel like it gives you such a vast opportunity of who you're working with. So whether it be kiddos or parents or adolescents or couples, or there's so much variety there. And so I'm really interested in that aspect of it. And then also just pouring into people and just walking along with them where they are, and kind of being a part of their journey, and seeing how they overcome really negative or really positive phases of life in different seasons. So I'm really excited about that. And then I am definitely eager to get my PhD I would love to do that through Trevecca as well. The main reason that I want my PhD is so that I can teach at the college level. So again, before I was a psychology major, I was an education major, and I always saw myself as a teacher. And although I'm so passionate about what life will look like as a therapist for me, I also think that a way to kind of tie all of my passions together would be to add the professor part of that. And so that's something that I'm really excited about. And then also the research aspect I think is really interesting. I'm not sure that that's something I see myself like really focusing on beyond my PhD. But again, I am very analytical, and I do like concrete facts and information, and so I think that I would probably thrive in that aspect of psychology. So that's where I see myself academically and within my career from here. To tie that in with aspects of my personality, again, I am a learner. That's one of my top 5 strengths, and so I really do enjoy the classroom and academic life. I am very dedicated and determined and organized, and so when I have a plan, I make it happen. And so I really feel like that's the path that I'm going to go on, and God could completely sidetrack me as He has already, changing my major. And if that happens, then so be it, and I'm excited to see what better things that He could have in store. But from my own human perspective, that's where I feel like I'm headed at this point. And then I really hope to have a family and some kiddos down the road, but I feel like that will come after my education. So yeah, I hope that this whole video just gave significant insight on my personality and on who I am and how I have evolved over the years. And I think this has been a really great opportunity to reflect on myself and also to hear from my family and their opinions. So that's all I have.